Good morning, homeschool homies. It's me, Melissa, and I am here with my very good friend, Dr. Shelley Grunig, and she is my hero, honestly. She's one of my heroes. She's an amazing veteran homeschooling mom. She just graduated her last baby this year. She has been an incredible resource to the homeschooling community for a very long time and to the community as a whole. I mean, this woman literally does it all. She's amazing. She is CEO of Be Greater Than Average, which is a STEM-based organization here based in Albuquerque, but is doing classes all over the country right now. She has adapted to the COVID crisis and took summer camps and put them online. And so kids across the country are enjoying STEM-based education this summer. She's the founder of R4, which is a nonprofit, and they have an award-winning robotics team that has done amazing work, winning national competitions, world competitions. I mean, just incredible. She's just an incredible entrepreneur, award-winning coach. She does it all, and she's amazing, and she does it with grace. And I can testify to this because our family is part of these programs. My kids have been part of the robotics programs, the summer camps. My daughter's interned, and we have gained so much through this, more than just STEM education too. I mean, learning technical writing, learning leadership skills, my kids being mentored, learning how to be mentors. It's just all encompassing. There's so much that Shelley does. So Shelley, I'll stop bragging about you for a minute and I'll let you brag about yourself. Can you tell our audience all about you and just share with us, please?
I think I might, Melissa, first of all, I am president of your fan club personally, but I'm going to say that perhaps I should just stop right there after that introduction. I'm feeling a little humbled, but you know, through all of this, God provides, right? And all of this stuff, so many amazing things. I've had the privilege of homeschooling in a lot of different states, in about 6 different states. And 17 years ago, we moved to New Mexico, and I know the Lord had that in mind because it was not my idea, and have had such an amazing opportunity. So I just want to welcome in new homeschoolers, say, please, we want you, we're happy to have you join in this community. And you know, the greatest part about homeschooling is that you get to craft this journey to be what you want it to be for your family. And I think the biggest downfall is that you may never go back to regular schooling or other kinds of schooling, right? Because homeschooling is powerful. I remember very vividly the very first year that my 1-year-old son, that we kind of made the decision. We had gone to preschool screening and we're like, you know what, we're just not ready to do this yet. And in that time, God just provided all of these friends and amazing experiences. And we're like, wait, what is homeschooling? We didn't even know at that point, right? And learn. So just trust that things will be given to you, and you stumbled across Homeschool Homies or somebody told you about it, and now you're part of the community, right? And so just know that and trust. And I really am a firm believer, Melissa, in the fueling things by the power of mom, right? The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. And it's true, right? So back when my son, who I told you is 27, I have 27-year-old son, 24-year-old, or 25-year-old daughter, and then an 18-year-old daughter. And back when Daniel was 12, I was looking for something fun to do in science. And I stumbled across this robotics competition, and I thought, oh, this will be fun. We'll invite a few friends. And so that first year, Daniel and 2 of his friends started building a robot. I kind of liked the idea of using power tools because I always say I grew up in my daddy's garage, so I knew how to use a power tool, had no idea how to program a robot, what a robot really was, nothing like that. But again, it's the power of mom and just having the heart to want to help your kids. That's where you start, right? Mm-hmm. And we all dig into things. Melissa, I know you've been in situations that you would have never chosen for yourself, but you ended up there because it was a draw for your kids. And that's later, we'll just talk about Life Launch Academy, because this is the whole journey of that, like trying to launch our kids in the best way possible for them. So that was in 2005. I started a team. There were 3 kids. One other mom volunteered to hang out with me, and we had to bribe them in any way that we could, not to fight with one another, and to actually get something done. The first year we went to the competition, and everybody was hooked. The parents were hooked, the kids were hooked, and we went out and started looking for more friends to join us. And last year in 2019, we had about 60 kids on the team. And we continue to be about 50% homeschooled. We're kind of hybrid. We got homeschoolers, public schoolers, private schoolers. We're the only community-based program in our state that I know of where we're truly open to anyone who just wants to join us. Mm-hmm. The beautiful thing about robotics, as you well know, is that it's not all about the robot.
That's right. There's a place for everybody.
Exactly. There is a place for everybody. It is what I call a STEM entrepreneurial challenge. And so the kids build the robot, but then other kids come along and write an engineering notebook. They go out and fundraise. They develop branding. They print T-shirts. They build exhibit booths. They cheer. There's space for everyone, which is why for us as a homeschool family, once we started getting things going, the girls jumped in and just were as thrilled for robotic season as my son. Everybody had their different role. My ultimate goal with that was to help them launch their lives and into careers, because my background is in career education. And so I wanted them to know what to do with their future or what direction they wanted to head. And so that was kind of my underlying motivation to do this. And so a lot of things were born out of that robotics team. And just like the robotics team, if you are just now starting and launching your homeschool journey, I just want to encourage you, just showing up and doing what you can do is enough.
Yeah.
All right. Try really hard not to compare yourself to others. Do not compare your kids to others. Everyone's on their own journey. Mm-hmm. And just trust that. Yeah. Trust that all of us have gaps in our education. If we all think back to our education, there are gaps, both big and small. And I promise you that if there's a gap in your kids' education that they want, that they need, eventually they will make the decision to fill that gap.
Yep.
And I could give you story after story. We don't have that kind of time today, but I will promise you this. You can find me out there in social media anywhere. And if you want to chat, send me a message and we'll get together and chat about it, because I can give you all kinds of war stories. Maybe that's not the best word. Lots of examples, not only of my 3 children, but now a robotics team worth of children and families. And so that somewhere along the way, my son said, I believe in 2011, Daniel said, Mom, we love doing this stuff so much. We should teach other kids. And I was like, bing, 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 always learning. Let my kids give me a hard time because it's always about what can you learn. It's like, that's a really great idea, Daniel. Let's start doing camps. And so that's how our camp program was born. We started doing that for a few years. And then my older daughter came along and said, hey, CNM has this launch program for small businesses. You should apply. I said, well, I'm only going to apply if you do it with me. And so my daughter, as well as another robotics team member, joined me, and we went and launched what we call Be Greater Than Average. There we go. Don't be intimidated by the math. Really, it's okay. That's just how to find the mean. I always tell kids, it's how to divide all the M&Ms that your mom gives you with your friends or your siblings, right? And so Be Greater Than Average, we offer STEM camps, classes, especially in emerging technology. And a lot of our kids, they're not, just yesterday, one of our kids was telling me like her greatest passion is music, right? But she still loves to be part of this. And I think your daughters are good examples of that, right? You have one that's very scientifically minded.
Yeah.
But the other 3, maybe, they're still pretty young, so we're not completely
they're
sure.
finding their place. And even my oldest, like, she really likes life sciences, but she has found a spot for herself within the, you know, the community that you have built, especially like with the roads competition, which was all about Mars, which she found her niche. And so no matter where their interests are, there's a place for them. And it doesn't have to be like their main interest. It doesn't have to be their goal to be an engineer, but they have so many opportunities to learn alongside their peers and learn, you know, things that are still applicable to their entire life,
Right.
like public
Communication,
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 writing, you know,
problem solving.
Yeah.
Yeah, how do you, using the engineering design process to like solve problems in life. So that's the secret out there, moms. Shh, don't tell any of the kids. The robotics team is not about robots.
That's right.
Okay, we build a lot of robots. There's one behind me. I'm actually not in the room with we've got a camp going on, so I can't, virtual camp that we're running. So we've got a few students here running the camp. So I can't show you the big room that has a lot of the robotics equipment, but we are constantly evolving. But one of our greatest values is to be of strong character and to serve families. Mm-hmm. And so that's, as we're moving forward, that's something I've definitely learned in COVID. I have such a strong desire to serve families, whether that's through our camps and our classes, through our birthday parties. Always homeschoolers know that we have a heart for you, and at Be Greater Than Average, the LLC, as well as R4 Creating, our nonprofit. And we're always giving scholarships to our camps and programs as much as we can. Yeah. I do a lot of grant writing, a lot of fundraising. I'm helped by a lot of amazing moms. Again, the power of mom, right? So somewhere along there in all of this ever changing, you know, we're about to launch online birthday parties. We have an online Minecraft community where you can trust. It's like a safe place for your kids to play in a closed server community that's all about being greater than average. And to us, being greater than average means that you are working to be a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday, that you're continually changing and growing and developing. And that's how we encourage young people. And so I've been really privileged. We have some amazing alums. Yeah. And we have some amazing community partners. So right now, the camp that we're working with Sandia National Labs Robotics Vehicle Range. And at the end of the month, we're going to be working with Electric Playhouse. So there's so many amazing resources in our community. I would say that if you are interested in something and you can't find it, which I'd be really surprised because there are a lot of things in Albuquerque.
We have a really rich homeschooling community.
We really do. I think the biggest problem is what to do.
Exactly, like, narrowing it down.
You could be what we call car schooling.
Yeah.
Instead of homeschooling, you're in your car driving and having kids do stuff in between all the activities. There's so many activities that you can get involved in. And I encourage you to figure out, you know, what's best for your family. Obviously, during COVID, it all looks a little different. But I know the creativity that people have and entrepreneurs have, we're making lots of opportunities out there for everybody. So we have R4 Creating, the nonprofit, Be Greater Than Average, the for-profit. I mean, they work together, so it's hard. Like, people are like, "What's the difference?" You know,
there's overlap there.
Yes, there's lots of overlap, but really, what it is a family-based program where we take kids as learners and parents as learners and turn them into leaders. Yeah. Right. So they're tracking through from learner to leader. Yeah. And enriching their life. So, and then in the end, my goal is the Life Launch. So I have an online course called Life Launch Academy, and that is designed to help with career decision making and planning. And so I love for young people to take part in that. And there is a free parent workshop on the website that you can check out. And I assume you're going to put links in the comments or something. So lots of links there. And then one last thing, if you're a podcast listener, I have a podcast, so I have to plug that.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I can talk, right,
I
Melissa?
told you guys she does everything.
Well, we meet so many amazing people doing STEM things here in the Southwest. And most of the world, heck, most of the neighborhood does not even realize the amazing amount of STEM projects, science, technology, engineering, and math that are coming out of the Southwest. Like, it is unbelievable. You know, today I have a podcast interview with someone doing neurogenics. Like, we are on the cutting edge of so many things.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes in New Mexico we feel bad because maybe we're not ranked so great on certain lists. But when it comes to STEM and STEM learning and STEM careers, it's out of this ballpark, right? Like, there are so many rock stars, STEM rock stars here in the Southwest. So that's what that's what we talk about on the podcast. We interview some really cool people, including some of the kids from our robotics program over the years, right?
And so, what's the name of the podcast?
It's called STEM Southwest Podcast.
And where can we find it?
STEM, STEMSW.com.
Okay.
Is where that's at.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
That's
a little bit about me. Again, I love to connect and have a cup of tea, even if we do it virtually.
And you're always so generous with your time and your resources, and you do have just so, I mean, you've done this, you've walked this path, you know, the frustrations, the struggles, the anxiety of having to take on educating your kids. And then it can be very overwhelming, but like you said, it's like, I mean, starting a robotics team, that's pretty overwhelming. I mean, I have joined the organization and we did the robotics team, and I was like, I know nothing about robotics, and you know, but I was able to jump in and help with the team. Sure, it was making posters and it was doing that, but I got to help and I got to participate. And you know, it was just amazing to see. I think the thing that I've been so impressed with is seeing kids that feel like they don't have a place find a place, and kids that don't have a passion find a passion. And even though I have kids that aren't necessarily interested in STEM long term, they're really interested in the content that you are providing because it's relevant right now, like Minecraft camps. I mean, what kid doesn't love Minecraft? Or what kid doesn't love blowing up stuff? So like the rocketry camp that's going on right now, where you're getting to like make rockets. I mean, so they don't even know that they're really learning STEM. Like if you told your kid, hey, we're gonna do a STEM camp, they'd be like, ugh. But you're like, hey, you're gonna do a Minecraft camp. And you don't really realize all that's involved with Minecraft, like the computer science, the programming, the coding, all that stuff that's in there. And so you guys kind of use all this fun stuff as a disguise.
Can I give one example before we wrap things up? One example was last year, Sandia National Labs at our Robotics Training Institute, where we choose 12 student leaders in robotics from across the metro area, from different teams, so that we can get the kids working together, not just competing against each other, but actually working together. And last year, they learned how to build 3D printers.
Which is so crazy.
It is awesome. So they assembled their 3D printers, learned everything about how to use them, and then they went off and they had 3D printers in their bedrooms, right? Or wherever. Some put it in the garage. Many of them just keep them in their bedrooms, in their closet. So in December, we offered our first ever 3D printing camp, where those kids from that initial group then taught another group of kids that enrolled in our camps how to build 3D printers, which it went fabulously. And that's, it's fun. We do drones, 3D printers, robots, of course, and so many other things. Stop motion animation, your daughter helps a lot with that, and the media part. And in fact, one of my daughters is a professional media artist because of the robotics experience, and got her job literally because of it. But then COVID happened, right? And I challenged the kids on the team, the students in the program, and said, I need you to start thinking beyond yourself. Like, what can you do to serve your family, the community, where can we take this? And one of the students came up with the idea that why don't we use our 3D printer to print these face shields that we've been reading about, the PPE that's been in there's been a shortage of it, low supply. And so I said, sure, because I'm always one for crazy ideas. And so that small group of kids that taught this other group of kids, we reached out to all those kids and then reached out to anybody else that were kids that had 3D printers and said, do you want to come on board? And literally within the matter of a week, we were producing these face shields, and we were getting donations from the community and donation, or things like you and your kids did some work. You didn't have a 3D printer, so you pitched in with
transparencies.
Right, like people were driving things, and ultimately we delivered nearly 5,000 face shields that were literally made in the bedrooms of kids' homes throughout the metro area. That's really powerful, right? But the story just continues, because then we take all that knowledge into this online 3D printing camp. And if you're not familiar with 3D printing, like, it really is such an amazing manufacturing and creative tool that's going to change the world for our children. It's already changing our world, but our kids, like, it is the thing of the Jetsons kind of thing, right? It's going to be life-changing. And so now they're teaching kids from all over the country how to build, how to assemble, and use their own 3D printers. So now our workforce is like grown, and now we're printing these face shields, creating face shields for schools and teachers that are in need of them, and of course still continuing to supply. But an example that it's like the power of mom, the power of kids, power of leadership, the power of finding your people. And
just saying yes. I think sometimes we're so scared to step out of the boat. We're just like, oh, I don't know what this is going to look like. But we don't need to know what the whole journey is going to look like. We just need to take that first step. So for so many parents, like, this homeschooling journey seems so overwhelming, and they can't see the whole path. But it's just that yes, like, okay, yes, we're going to try this. We're just going to take that first step, and it's step by step. But man, like, what an incredible journey, and just like what these kids have done with their 3D printers. I mean, it was amazing to watch and see, and it was a blessing to us, because my husband and his coworkers were recipients of those face shields, and they actually preferred them over the ones that they had at work. But it was amazing to see that those kids just come together and using what they've learned to do good. And I think that's what we want for our kids. It's more than academic. It's more than head knowledge. We want them to learn to be good people. And they are, like, they've proven that self. They were thinking of others, and they worked around the clock. And so this journey it's about just saying yes. The power of just yes. Just say yes.
Absolutely. Power of just striving to be greater and do things that, you may feel as a first-time homeschooler or new to homeschooling that this is a seemingly impossible task. And I would just, again, take a breath. You've said yes. Trust the process. This does not have to be school at home. Please, all of us probably set up little desks in rows with books for our kids to begin with. Homeschooling is our messy life it's a lifestyle choice.
We're learning together, and we're living together.
Exactly. And enjoy it, because I promise you, now with my kids so much older, it just goes by so quickly. And I have a grandson, which is so exciting, but spend this time now, like, just really building the relationship with your kids. And it's hard right now for kids. I was just talking to a couple moms this week about just the struggle, the challenge with this generation and with the pandemic and the things that they're facing. There's great joy, there are great opportunities, but there are also some pretty big hardships and heaviness. And so I think that that as parents, you know, and those of you who are working full time and trying to fit in homeschooling, I promise you, you get creative, you will figure it out. I've done it for years. Many, many, many years. I was working as a consultant while homeschooling my kids. I spent some late nights, you know, just trying to do things when they were younger, and as they got older and were able to self-manage a little bit more, then there were some longer periods that I could work on the work that I was doing at the time. But it is possible. It is not always easy. It's not always clean cut,
Nope.
but there is so much richness in it. And if you think of it as a lifestyle, and just say yes for now, right? And we'll see what next year brings.
That's right.
And just keep putting one foot ahead of the other. And when you need help, reach out to get it. People like Melissa, myself, the Homeschool Homies, I am sure you will find, you'll post one thing, you're going to get lots of opinions.
Yeah.
Take those all with a grain of salt and do what's best for your family and for you.
Awesome. Shelly, thanks for the encouragement. I know my heart needed to hear it too this morning. So thank you for that. And just thank you for giving of your time and this morning, and just for all that you've done for the community, homeschooling and beyond. I know that we have personally felt the impact of that, but I know so many other families have too. So thank you for giving so generously of yourself all these years. And you guys, check out Be Greater Than Average, check out R4 Creating, check out Life Launch Academy, check out the podcast. We'll have all the links. Shelly really is just an amazing woman, and if you know her, you're count yourself lucky, because you're one of the lucky ones. But she's always open and amazing.
It's an amazing God in an amazing community, right?
And it is. And again, that's what we've been saying all along. You guys, you're not doing this alone. We're in this together. So, homies, I hope you guys have a great day.
Found your people. Yeah.
That's right. You have found your tribe here with the homies. So we will talk to you guys later.